Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate the consumer, to grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. Finances, they're on the mind of many Americans today. And we're doing spotlights on remarkable advisors across the country. Joining me on this segment is John Chapman. John, welcome to the program.
Happy to be here, Mark. Thanks for having me.
John, tell us a little bit about your practice and specifically, who are the types of folks that you like to help?
Mark, I'm a certified financial planner. I work for WorthPoint Wealth Management. My office is in Newport Beach, California. I love working with corporate executives or directors who receive company stock as part of their compensation. And they have questions about how to manage the taxes, how to manage diversification and concentration risk, and ultimately achieve financial independence so they can retire successfully.
Excellent. Now, for those folks, has this pandemic, brought on any new sets of questions or senses of urgency? How has this affected your field and the folks that you work with?
Good question. One way that it's affected people is by early retirement. A lot of people that used to commute are now have worked from home for a year and a half, and every company is managing that differently. And so some executives are thinking, boy, I like this lifestyle. I'm not sure if I want to commute. Other people are looking at this as a great opportunity to work up the ladder. There's such a tight shortage in the labor market that's just been a lot of shifts and a lot of people that want to advance their career. So there's lots of different ways that people have been impacted by COVID. But certainly early retirement is on everybody's mind. They've seen the stock market go up. They're seeing the inflation numbers. They're seeing home prices. And so a lot of these conversations have been accelerated.
Gosh, it sounds kind of complicated. There's a lot of different options for folks these days. What have you found to be like some of the most common questions you're getting from folks now about that?
The most common question is asking, am I on track? And it is confusing. And the benefit of living in an age of technology is we've got so many choices, but the downfall is that it's absolutely paralyzing. And so what I wanted to do for my clients is just take a very simple 30,000 foot view and ask ourselves, what's important and what's the lifestyle that I'm leading right now? And think about somebody, their typical spending, their day-to-day budget, what they're getting, and then simply just use that as a marker to understand, okay, based on this amount of lifestyle spending for my family, for food and mortgage or whatever, here's what I should have roughly in my savings, and everything else is noise.
So, linked to that, what are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions that people hold? What have you heard people say out there that kind of takes you aback?
One of the misconceptions is trying to find the right investment. We had something in the stock market called meme stocks, which just simply meant a few stocks that were on everybody's mind, things like AMC and GameStop and Tesla. And there will always be stocks out there that get people's attention. We will always experience a feeling of I missed out. But chasing after these stocks has proved to be probably more dangerous than people understand. And so while it doesn't sound sexy or exciting, probably the biggest thing that I want to advocate for my clients is don't be discouraged by missing out on the cryptocurrency of the day or the stock of the day. It's really easy to make that money and also have it just go away really quickly. So it's very difficult to build wealth slowly and then maintain it over a long period of time. And that's what I'm here to help them with.
Reminds me of when people were like chasing that AOL stock back in the day, and that like brought to the spotlight, hey, what's the hot stock that I gotta get on right now?
Exactly. I mean, history is repeating itself. This happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, and here we are in 2021, and it's all happening today.
So going for the long term is definitely the plan.
100%.
John, as you start to work with folks, do you find any really glaring big mistakes that people make with their financial house, or any pitfalls that you could help people avoid?
I mean, one of the pitfalls is simply being so overwhelmed to not get started. And certainly there are a lot of categories that someone needs to worry about within building a financial plan. There's 5 areas: retirement, investment, insurance, taxes and estate planning. So one of the biggest mistakes is just being frozen and not raising your hand and asking for help. Statistically, only about a third of households out there look for a financial advisor. And so there's a big opportunity. And one of the friction points is people are worried about who they can trust, but there's some great resources online. You can even ask a friend or colleagues. I encourage people to just simply get started, raise their hand, find a professional they can trust, and then they can hopefully sleep easy knowing that they've got a financial plan in place.
So those 5 key areas you mentioned, it sounds a lot simpler than what people make it out to be. Could you give us like just a 10,000-foot view and overview on those 5 different areas?
Yeah, so people ask like, what's the framework or the structure of a financial plan? And it's those 5 key areas. So I'll say them one more time. These are the building blocks that hold up or support a strong financial plan. The first is retirement. That's just simply asking yourself, what do I want in the future, and starting with the end in mind. And then based on that first part of retirement, then we can ask ourselves, how should we be invested? Is this a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal, college, retirement, a home, whatever? And then after that, then we got to protect ourselves. So we're thinking things like life insurance or health insurance or disability insurance. Then we're thinking about an estate plan. What happens if you get incapacitated or pass away? And then the last part is taxes. How can you keep more of what you earn? And so those are the 5 key pillars of any good financial plan.
Excellent. Really sage advice. John, how did what inspired you to start helping folks in this area? Like, how did you get started?
I got started in 2008. I'm a young person, so I was in college at the time at the University of Washington. I remember having a phone call from my dad who just lost his job. I was walking on Klickitat Lane in rainy Seattle in the fall of 2008, and he said that I needed to go get a job because he wouldn't be able to send me a little bit of spending money every single month. And I had no idea what a recession was. I didn't know why my dad lost his job. It was very confusing. And I remember that day talking to a friend of mine. I started reading the Wall Street Journal. And that's when I decided I have to figure out this personal finance stuff, because if I don't do it, I don't want to end up in a bad spot. And that started my journey.
Excellent. So, John, before I ask you my last question, if folks want to work with an advisor, but they just don't know where to start, what is it? What are the important things they should look for in an advisor they're considering working with?
Yeah, it's a great question. It mostly comes down to trust. This is a service-oriented business. So things like technology and trading software, those are the commodities. Most people who have gone through all the training and the credentials, they have all of that, all those commodity type stuff. But the most important thing is finding somebody that you can communicate with, that has a track record, that's a fiduciary, meaning they act in your best interest. And if you just simply type in fiduciary financial advisor or certified financial planner, there's some great tools and websites where you can find somebody that you can trust. And I encourage people, it probably takes 2 or 3 interviews to find somebody that you might mesh with.
Fantastic. Yeah, anybody can buy a stethoscope, but not everybody can call themselves a doctor.
Exactly.
So, John, tell us, for folks listening right now, if they want to connect with you, how do they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Yeah, great question. 2 ways to connect. You can go on our website, worthpointinvest.com. Point is spelled with an E, so WORTHPOINTE, WorthPoint, and then invest.com is our website. Or you can email me directly at john.chapman@wpwm.com.
John, this has been terrific. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
This segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com, and that's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their practices, and leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.